place, a new home for a while. Let me feel alive.
Hello, my friends. It's another wonderful day in the Philippines, and today I'm interviewing my friend Paul,
Hi,
Old Dog
everybody.
New Tricks. And you watch my videos, you've seen that I talk generally pretty much positive about all aspects of the Philippines. And you know, truth be told, I don't know that many expats, and so the ones that do fail, I don't know about it. I don't know why. Now I have the advantage of Paul having been here for 7 years, being probably one of the best vloggers around, and he knows a lot of these people. He knows the reasons why. So what I want him to do is to give us a couple of maybe the top 3 or top 5 reasons why people fail when they come to the Philippines. What do you think, Paul?
I would say it's been my experience observing people over the last 7 years, pushing 8. Impulse control, number one. It's real easy. You're like a kid in a candy store when you get over here. I experienced that firsthand. So what I speak of, I'm guilty of. And I was so anticipating my move over here, the financial freedom, just the whole retirement thing whatsoever, moving and grooving at my own pace. And once I got set up, a lot of distractions came my way. A lot of temptations came my way. And things that hadn't happened to me for 30 or 40 years. It felt like I was a big fish in a little pond as opposed to the opposite. And it kind of goes to your head a little bit. And you feel like the weekend millionaire. And so the first pretty face that comes along, or the first purchase opportunity, you jump right in and you commit right away. When it comes to the city that you choose to live in, when it comes to the woman that you may be meeting, if that's your motivator or your driver, when it comes down to large purchases, when it comes down to how you budget your money, and just the decision-making process is way, way too quick. And so an example would be you land in Dumaguete and you've been watching the videos about Dumaguete and you think it's a place that you're gonna love because I love it. And then you're here for 30 days and you find out you don't love it. It's not for you. It's not right. But what have you done? Well, you bought a car. you know, you rented an apartment and signed a 1-year lease, and now you're kind of screwed, and you're miserable. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again. And so the other words behind impulse control that I use an awful lot on my little channel is just to slow down. You know, if you're going to come to Dumaguete, come to Dumaguete. Rent a hotel for 30 days. Don't rush out and buy anything. Use some public. Rent a bike. Don't buy one. Rent a car. Don't buy one. The reason I say hotel is that you can budget 20 bucks a day, 50 bucks a day, whatever your needs or wants or desires are, what your standards are. And you can always switch a hotel after 2 or 3 days if you don't like it. You can't switch out of an apartment once you just sold a 1-year lease. And so when you find that Dumaguete, I'll go negative, isn't right for you because of this, and this, well, that doesn't mean the Philippines isn't right for you. You and I just discussed the variety that's available out here. If you want high-rise commercial, you can find it. If you want a much more sedate province-style life where you don't see any other people that look like you, that's available. But you need to just give yourself time to settle in, acclimate, get used to the weather. And I think that if a guy comes out here and follows that pattern where he says, okay, I'm not going to commit to anything until X amount of days has gone by. I can say that because I gave myself 6 months when I first moved out here. I said, Paul McKill, if you don't like it after 6 months, there's nothing saying that you can't buy a plane ticket, go home, and go back to work. and buy another house or rent another apartment and get involved in another car payment. I had that in the back of my mind. And on the 6th month and one day, I bought my motorbike. I said, okay, I'm in. And so I'm going to commit. And I inked up back then 1,600 scooters, 1,600 bucks for my little scooter. And I've been here ever since. Another major fail that I've seen, which will come as no shock, is the same thing that tanks guys back home in America, and that is a non-compatible relationship that they commit to right away. And they start to throw a lot of money at it, trying to impress. And it takes a while to acclimate. It took me almost a year to figure it out that you want, even if you are rich, one big key out here, if you want sincerity, if you want someone that's genuine, if that's your thing, if you're looking for a companion, always play it poor. Always play it down. I don't care if you got $10 million in the bank. Be humble. Don't show off. Don't wear a bunch of jewelry or bling or, drive the biggest and baddest looking car. Just be modest, the millionaire next door. And I like that. If you're with a female and you start showering gifts on her, I've seen this a million times. It's 3 days later, she's got an iPhone and her family's got the leech on and they're having the big fiesta because you've arrived in town. And man, they are just showering you with all this attention that you haven't had for maybe 10 or 15 years or ever. And here it is, coming in mega doses. It can be like a narcotic. Who doesn't want to be a big shot? Who doesn't want to be a celebrity? Who doesn't want to be the life of the party? Well, you get to have all those things, but it's not real. It's all, I don't want to say phony. It's just done way too fast. So where I have seen guys fall down flat most often is those that just do not slow down. Get somewhere, settle in, take a look around and say, is this for me? And because this place isn't for me, well, that doesn't mean the Philippines isn't for me. It's just where I've landed in the Philippines isn't for me. You and I just talked about the difference between Makati and Dumaguete, and the difference between that and Bohol or Baguio. There's just so many different scenarios that a person can set themselves up for. One story that I've repeated a number of times that I've never forgotten was I was with a young lady when I first got here, about 6 months in, and we were on a trip or on a hunt to go find the marine sanctuary out somewhere in Darwin. And we must have driven around for there's no big sign that says marine sanctuary with an arrow, okay? I just heard about it. And so we went out hunting for it. And we must have asked 15 people. And they all just kind of went like that to get rid of us. And she spoke the language, I didn't. And we spent all day or half a day driving around, never found the marine sanctuary. Did we have a good time in the meantime? Sure. We were stopping off, getting snacks, going here, going down these roads. Still saw places that I never would have seen if I hadn't have made the trip, but I didn't accomplish my goal. When we got back to my apartment, she said to me, she goes, hey, Paul, how come you look so down? How come you look so, kind of crapped out? And I said, well, we didn't find the marine sanctuary. And she looked at me and she said, you know what, Paul? It'll be there tomorrow. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. Why am I in such a rush to get it done? I tried, I failed, but it will be there tomorrow. Something my wife tells me now is, remember, Paul, you're retired. You don't have any more deadlines. You're not at work. You don't have to get that deal upstairs so the salesman can get paid on it. Slow the hell down and relax a little bit. Smell the roses. And so I think that's one of the biggest failures. The other, number two, would be I hate to say it, but they get online with somebody and sort of make a commitment to somebody that they chatted with for 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 months, 2 or 3 days, and they've managed to fall in love. And she meets them at the airport. And again, now they're zeroed in on one person and they didn't leave themselves any opportunities. I've always said that if I met someone, which I didn't, but had it been me, and I was the guy that was chatting with Betty Lou over here in the Philippines, and I was convinced that she was the one, well, I would tell her I'm arriving on Friday, but I would arrive on Monday. I'd have to tell her a little white lie. Not a good way to start a relationship, but I would have to do that. Because I wouldn't want to get off the plane all sweaty and smelly and tired and worn out and full of nerves and all that. I would want to be able to land, get into a hotel, take a shower, brush my teeth, look good for Mary Lou or Betty Lou, whatever I called her, when I did meet her, and also give me the opportunity to kind of sniff around a little bit and see what's going on. Because the moment someone meets you at the airport or immediately take control of you, there is a power shift. And men tend to be a little dependent upon her for the language, because they're insecure. They don't know the language. They don't know how to exchange money. And then the next thing you know, you're meeting the family. And it's also very, very impulsive to try to impress somebody. Men, or at least men I know and the men I have been, has always tried to impress women with having the coolest car, the nicest shirt, the best looking house. We tend to lead with our wallets, the commercialization that we've gone through, the programming in America, the keeping up with the Joneses to make the impression. And so something that took me a long time to learn, maybe a year, was that the more low key you are with, as you so succinctly put, if you see, people out here respect the value of a dollar. It is so hard to come by so many people. Even those of the middle class, they still usually have come from humble beginnings. And so that $1 really goes a long way. If you show the respect of the money, if you're walking with your significant other or the woman that you just met or whatever, and she sees a pair of shoes in the window and they're at Robinson's, and she says, boy, I sure do like those shoes. I think the proper response is, I don't blame you, but I can't afford those. That's not in my budget. And she's either, that's gonna make or break it. You kind of know what you have at that point.
That could be a good place to say part ways.
Absolutely.
The other side of that is that the right Filipina and the right Filipinos will respect the wisdom of how you are handling your finances. They will respect that in ways in America we don't give it a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you want to run out, you want to spoil your girlfriend. What would be the next thing? I think a lot of people, and I don't know if we covered this in the first part, they leave because they're just unhappy because it's not what they envisioned.
It wasn't what I envisioned. I had a mental picture in my head when I came out here, and I was extremely disappointed when I took the cab ride from the airport to the hotel in Cebu. I had painted this picture in my head because we believe what we want to believe. And I create this scenario that I had lived in Thailand and this and that. And I had managed to convince myself that I was moving to Thailand, but they spoke English. That's the Philippines.
Right.
And I couldn't have been more wrong. I remember distinctly saying, because the body shapes were different, the overall appearance of the place was kind of dingy and dirty. I said, this is like Mexico. As I was going, back, to this day, I look around as I'm driving by, I go, it's like Mexico, here in Dumaguete, because there's fungus on the walls and it hasn't been painted. And you got one nice place here and then 3 dumps next to it. And there's broken sidewalks and all that kind of stuff. So you have to lower your expectations, I think. The weather can get to you. I mean, it's on the equator, bro. It's going to be, you got two seasons, hot and hotter. and then wet and not wet. So there's where you're going to be. A lot of guys have a tough time acclimating to the heat. Took me a year to acclimate to it. I was doing what I called air conditioning chasing for about a year. I would go out, I would last 10 minutes, and I would just dive in somewhere that had aircon.
Yeah, even to this day, when it gets really hot, I'll go in the morning to the market. I'll be in the aircon during the middle part of the day, and then I will be back out in the afternoon.
Right.
Same way that I did in Palm Springs when I lived there.
Right, right. Absolutely. The same thing in Vegas when I lived there. You know, you don't want to be out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You got to bust a move between 6 in the morning and 10 o'clock, and I do that here. We go home, and I say we, me and my wife, or just myself, depends, and then ride it out until it cools off. Yeah.
I know man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky.